Wallace State Community College's Women in Diesel Meet and Greet. My name is Anna Beard, and I'm the Diesel by Distance Project Coordinator here on campus. We are so happy to have you join us tonight, and we are excited about the wonderful group of women professionals and Wallace State faculty and staff here to speak with you this evening. Just some housekeeping items before we get started. We have an evaluation survey at the end of this presentation, and we hope everyone will take the time to fill it out. We also have a scholarship available for those who refer a female who enrolls into the diesel program. During the presentation, we will keep everyone muted, so don't run into any sound and feedback issues during the presentations. If you have any questions for the panelists or anything as we go through the presentation, please put those questions in the chat. We will have several opportunities throughout the presentation to stop and answer those questions for you. We will do our very best to try to get all of your questions, and if we can't, we will reach out to you after the presentation and answer those questions for you. We are happy to have a panel of 3 women who have chosen a diesel technology career pathway. They will be sharing with you their stories of empowerment and information on their success in diesel technology. 2 of our panelists are current Wallace State students. One is a diesel by distance student and mother of 2. Another is a traditional student who is working in field, and we'll go over what all that means in a bit. Our third panelist is a technical recruiter at Thompson Cat. Again, if you have any questions for them, please put those in the chat. After those panelists, we will have a staff and faculty members who will talk with you about the Wallace State Diesel Technology Program, including the degrees and certificates and the job outlook. Then you will hear about the resources available to support you. We will provide information on upcoming classes and how you can get started this summer or fall. And we will also provide you with information on financial aid and registration as well. In the last half hour, you will be giving the opportunity to meet one-on-one with either myself or Department Chair Mr. Swan in a breakout session where you can ask additional questions and get support. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. So, as you know, the gender gap in diesel technology is real, but it is changing. The number of women choosing careers in diesel technicians is growing, and we hope we can help you see tonight the wonderful opportunities available to women and to everyone in the diesel technology program and industry. Now, one thing that all of our female panelists have in common is that they all have a passion for the diesel field. They love working with their hands and fixing things and being able to problem solve and knowing that they were the one who was able to fix it. So we will begin with Kirsten Sellers, and she is going to hop off actually right after this because she's got things to do with her children. So if you have questions for her, you can put them in the chat at any time. Anyways, I want to get started by introducing Kirsten Sellers. She is a current Wallace State Diesel by Distance student in her 2nd semester, and she is a mother of 2 and hopes to enter the high demand, high wage diesel industry after she has completed some more training on campus. She will be obtaining her CDLs this summer through the program. Welcome, Kirsten. You may unmute your microphone at this time.
Hi.
All right, so hey, to start out, can you tell us how you got interested in the diesel industry as a career choice?
Well, it's something that I never thought of, but my mother-in-law saw, I think last summer, where y'all had posted about one of these meet and greets.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to join because why not? And now here I am. I decided to give it a try after talking and learning about the flexibility and especially that you didn't have to have any experience at all because I didn't. So that's how I learned about it.
Okay. So you have a medical lab assistant certificate. How did
Yes.
you go from that to this?
Well, with that, I'd always kind of looked around in the medical field. I've looked at several different careers in the medical field, and their certificate was a really good opportunity. So I took it, but it just wasn't what I wanted. Like it felt not right.
Okay.
But I went with the medical field because I feel like it's what most women do. They kind of lean towards the medical field, but it just wasn't for me.
Okay.
So I wanted something a little more hands on than that.
Okay. Um, so in the program, y'all go on the job shadowing field trips. How has that opened your eyes to the diesel industry?
It's definitely different than what I thought it would be, and I don't know why. I don't really know what you can expect. But schooling and seeing it in the field getting done, it's very different.
Hmm.
And the schooling is great, but it's kind of motivated me to kind of keep pushing because I kind of see more of what it would be like in the field.
Okay. All right. So what has been the biggest challenge for you to overcome in the program?
Not knowing anything to begin with.
Okay.
But I've learned. I was real nervous starting out, and I've definitely had my doubts throughout the program. It's been tough, but the instructors are great, and you're always there to help if I need it. And y'all just continue to encourage me and just let me know that I'm doing fine.
Hmm.
But that's been difficult,
Okay.
especially getting discouraged.
Right. Okay. So how do you handle the work-life balance?
Well, as a mom, that's tough by itself. That's a 24/7 job. And then I also have a part-time job just working at a little daycare at a gym. So it's not much, but that's still something new that I'm adding to the plate. But doing diesel by distance, it allows me to be more open. Y'all work with me. Whatever schedule I need, y'all are willing to help with that. Um, so that's convenient.
Okay. What do you enjoy most about being a student in the program?
I enjoy the learning. I enjoy the patience from the instructors. And I definitely, when I'm discouraged, all I'm thinking about is in that moment and how I just feel like I'm not doing that great of a job. But then I look back to my first semester and even before that, and there's a lot that I've learned.
Right.
So that's nice to be able to look back and look at my progress and see how far I actually have come.
Okay. Great. Um, so let's switch gears a little bit. What do you like to do in your free time, if you have any?
Yeah, that's a rare occasion. Um, I really just hang out with my family. I've got the 2 kids and then my husband. Um, but there's not much, not much free time, which is fine. But we hang around the house, we go outside, the kids play ball, and that's pretty much it. Work, school, family.
Okay, that's not bad.
No, no,
All right.
no.
So, what advice would you give to other women considering joining the program, especially those who may not have any prior knowledge?
I would tell them to do it. I took a chance, not knowing anything, and it was very scary. And it still is scary, going through the schooling and still, I have a lot to learn, but it's worth it.
Hmm.
You've got the instructors, they're there, they help, they listen to you. If you have any concerns, they are more than willing to sit down and talk through them with you. But it's a great course, it's a great program. And I would tell them it's not going to be easy,
Okay.
but I would still highly recommend giving it a shot.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you, Kirsten, for sharing your perspective on the program with us. So, at this time, if anyone has any questions for her, you can drop them in the chat. And well, as I mentioned, she does have to hop off here because she has obligations with her family. So we're going to go ahead and answer her questions, but then the other panelists, their questions will be answered at the end of the panel discussion. Okay. So we do have a couple of questions. What has been your favorite project that you worked on in the Diesel Tech program?
We have a whole engine course, and that has been my favorite. Just
Okay.
engines in general. I enjoyed learning about them. I enjoyed. There was one point that they quizzed us on engine parts, and I left crying because I was so discouraged
Oh,
because I knew
no.
absolutely nothing. But I went through it. The instructors went through it with me. They helped me, and I grew. I learned, and the engines are tricky. They're very tricky, but they were very fun to take apart, put back together. You learn this piece, that piece, and I really enjoyed that one.
Okay. Great. Um, how were you able to fund the program, or what funding sources did you use for the program?
I did get a scholarship.
Okay.
Um, I attended the NC3 signing day,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that day they had applications available for scholarships. So I did get that. And I also filled out a FAFSA, and I was offered a grant, and I was also offered loans. So that's how I made it through
Okay.
the classes.
Okay. So thank you. That's all the questions that I have, unless there are any more, but I'm not seeing any. So let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else right now. So with that, oh hi.
Yeah.
You are free to go at this
Okay.
point. I thank you for your time here tonight and to speak on what it's been like for you coming in with no knowledge. That is going to be helpful for those so that they know, they're not alone and that you will learn. It's just a slow process. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Well, thank y'all.
Thank you. We will see you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, so our next panelist is Brianna Morgan. She is a current diesel technology student and has been working as a trailer technician for about 8 months now at a local company called RE Garrison. Brianna grew up working on farm equipment, and after years of working in an office, she decided to pursue her passion by joining the Wallace Diesel Technology program. She will graduate the program this fall, and she also just won third at the state level of Skills USA last week. We're very proud of her. She was the first ever female to win in the diesel category from Wallace State, so that's pretty exciting. And anyways, welcome, Brianna. We're glad to have you here. You can unmute your microphone.
Hello.
So, Brianna, can you tell us, how did you get interested in becoming a diesel technician?
Well, I've had several family members who are in the diesel industry, whether it be trucking or working on trucks and things like that. And I grew up on a farm, so I've always been fascinated with tractors and that kind of thing. And I like to learn how to fix on my own stuff, so I didn't have to let anybody else do it. I've had several people in my life tell me, women can't do this kind of thing. So I set out to prove them wrong. And I had the very fortunate opportunity to begin a job in field just my second month into school at RE Garrison, and hopefully I plan on becoming a heavy truck dealership technician.
Awesome. All right, so can you tell us about the company you work for and what a typical day looks like for you?
Well, like I said, I'm employed by RE Garrison Trucking here in Coleman. I'm a trailer technician, and I've been here for 8 months. As a trailer technician, my job is to make sure that these trailers, when they leave our yard, they're DOT approved. No matter where they go, where they get stopped, they're not going to have any issues. Whether it be changing tires or, washing out the trailers, fixing body damage. We have all refrigerated units, so I learned how to work on the reefers and do preventative maintenance on those as well, and that kind of
Okay,
thing.
awesome. What is it like being in a field that is mostly male dominated, both at work and at school?
Well, I grew up with two older brothers, so working with men is something that I've always had to do. If my brothers could do it, I figured out how I could do it. So working with the boys is just like every other day. Sometimes they can be immature, but you just let it go in one ear and out the other. Sometimes they get a little rowdy, and I try to calm them down and get them back focused. But you know how it goes. Um,
Mhm.
like you said, there's only 5 girls in our program, so I try to be as much of a mentor to them as I can, since I do know a little bit more than them here and there. But other than that, I don't let them intimidate me, and I just jump right in and go full force.
Awesome. So how did you come to join the diesel program at Wallace State?
Well, I'd previously worked as a 911 dispatcher, and I did that for about 5.5 years. And all I did was sit in a chair, answer phone calls, and dispatch. And I decided it was time for a change, and I talked to my wife about it. And she agreed that if it was something I wanted to do, then I could go for it. So I applied, and I got accepted. And I've always loved 18-wheelers, big trucks, anything big. I love it, and I just wanted to know more. So I joined school, and here I am.
Awesome. Okay, so on a personal side, how do you like to spend your free time?
I love spending my free time with my family and my wife and my friends. Whether it's sitting around the house watching movies, or going to Top Golf, or just hanging out. I don't get much free time, so when I do, I spend it very wisely. I go fishing, I play golf with my brother. Other times I run around with my nieces and nephews and do all that kind of thing. During the summer and fall, I'm constantly on my tractor when I'm not at work, so I do a lot of bush hogging and that kind of thing. And like I said, most of my free time is spent with my wife and that kind of thing, and that's about all I do.
All right. So what do you love about your career and working in the diesel industry?
I love having the satisfaction knowing that when I work on something, it's fixed. It's not leaving and it's going to break down in 10 minutes when they get down the road. I love knowing that what I do helps supply the world with what they need. I mean, everything's delivered on a truck. So if something's delivered by a train or a boat or anything, it had to get there somehow. And it was more than likely by a truck. So I love knowing that what I do provides the world with what it has. And I'm super excited to see what the future holds for me in my diesel journey. I'm hoping that I can make my uncles proud for going out and following their footsteps. And I really hope that I've proven a lot of these men wrong who told me I couldn't do it. So,
I love that. Thank you so much for all that wonderful information. So at this time, if you have any questions for Brianna, you can put them in the chat as well. And then we're going to move on to our third panelist. And after we are finished with her, we will open up the Q&A session. Okay. So Brianna, just stay on for about 15 more minutes. Okay.
you're good.
So our third panelist is Haley Bibb. She is currently the technical recruiter at Thompson Cat, where she served as a diesel technician, but she is about to return to her prior role as a technician because she loved it. Um, she was introduced to the field by her older brother. Before this, she was working at a dental clinic making dentures. She did love her job, but she knew it wasn't a career and wanted something more challenging. Welcome, Haley. We are excited to have you here and to hear your story. You can unmute your microphone at this time. Okay. So, Haley, how did you get interested in becoming a diesel technician?
Growing up, I had an older brother. Even when he was younger, he always had these cheap cars and trucks he was buying and fixing up and all this. And I was very thankful. He was very patient with me and he answered my 15 million questions. And it just kind of sparked an interest in me as far as learning how things work and fixing them. And I would like to say that he probably influenced me to kind of go towards this.
Awesome. So, can you describe the pathway that you took to pursue that path in the diesel industry?
So kind of like somebody else said, I went to South Alabama for college for nursing because I was like, that's a good, stable, reliable job. I went down there for a year and I realized that was not what I wanted to do at all. It just did not fit me. So I moved back home and that's when I got my job at the dental lab. I was just making dentures, working with dentists, stuff like that. I worked there for like 2 years. It was a great job. I really did enjoy it, but I just didn't feel like it was challenging enough. I just wanted something a little more interesting to do. So
Mhm.
I just kind of opened my horizons to anything. And when I really got to thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Like, I think I'm gonna go work for Cat. That we have a store down the road from my work then. So thank goodness I was very lucky. I applied at the one here in town, got hired on, and they sent me to their schooling in Birmingham just to kind of help me get the base knowledge of everything I needed to know to start working safely in the shop.
Awesome. Can you tell us what it's like working with men for
Yeah.
you or from your perspective?
Yeah. So I was really nervous when I first, like before I started, because I didn't know anything and I was just really nervous about how it was going to go working with a bunch of men. But honestly, I love it. I mean, they're all some of my best friends, all the guys in the shop that I used to work with. I still talk to all the time, go to the shop, cut up with them. They can definitely, if you got to have thick skin, they're going to joke around. And it's not because you're a woman, like they do it with everybody, but you just got to know that they don't mean anything by it. You just got to dish it back and enjoy your time. I mean, we're all there. Got to make the best of it.
Right. Okay. So, what do you love about your career and working in the diesel industry?
What I love the most would definitely be I feel like it's very rewarding, the satisfaction of when something pulls out, knowing you did that
Mm-hmm.
and proving them wrong that, it doesn't matter. We may be a little smaller than the rest, but it's okay. We can still do it.
Do you have
No, you're good.
any advice to share with other women who might be considering this career?
Yeah, I would just say go for it. Don't let what anyone else tells you scare you, or don't let your own self kind of talk you out of it. Just go for it. And I really think that most people would enjoy it. If that's something you're passionate about, it's a great job.
Thank you so much for the information. So at this point, if you have any questions for Haley or Brianna, you can put them in the chat now and we will answer those questions. And then after that, you and Brianna are both free to go and we'll dive into the other parts of this. Okay. All right. A question for Haley. What was the biggest challenge you overcame when working on such large equipment?
I wouldn't really say the size has anything to do with it. I mean, of course, the bigger the equipment, the bigger the components, but they have cranes. I mean, it doesn't, I wouldn't really say that. I think my biggest thing would be just starting out fresh, not knowing a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's plenty of resources out there where you can learn and grow as a technician. And so, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. Brianna, what is your favorite thing to do as a technician?
I would have to say that my favorite thing to do is definitely not change tires. That is all. Um, I mean, I guess just learning all the details with these engines. I mean, knowing how everything works together. And I like electrical. I'm not really good at it, but I like knowing how all the electrical components go together as well.
Mhm.
With the reefers, I haven't really dived into them really deep. I mostly do preventative maintenance like oil changes and belt changes and that kind of thing. I enjoy doing those.
Okay.
Trailers are definitely a lot different than trucks in some areas because it's a 53-foot trailer. It's not a truck. It's all compact together. So I haven't really gotten into the truck side of things besides what we do at school.
Uh-huh.
So, it's still kind of on the fence what my favorite thing to do would be, really.
Okay. So this question could be for either one of you. Um, Handling heavy equipment, which I know it asks, how did you what did you overcome with working on large equipment? But like when it comes to lifting, like are there special devices y'all use or anything like that when you have to deal with something that's super heavy?
We have, of course, they have like dollies and stuff if you need to carry around like rigging or blocks or anything like that. But I'm not too good to ask somebody.
Okay, very
Uh,
good.
For us, at the trailer shop and all that kind of stuff, we change brakes and that kind of thing. We have dollies for the drums. We have hand trucks if we have to carry anything heavy. Um, Really, you don't have to lift anything over about 50 pounds by yourself. And if you do, I mean, I work with a great group of guys, and they're always willing to give me a hand if I need it. They never hesitate. So,
Good. Would you say that's true for you as well, Haley? You didn't have to lift anything over 50 pounds?
I mean, most of the stuff, even the guys in there, they're not trying to break themselves down. So a lot of
Right.
times if it's too heavy to just carry around like quickly and easily, we'll hook it up to the crane.
Okay. Very good. Well, that's all the questions from the chat. So I appreciate y'all being here very much. I hope that your insight helps others consider diesel technology and to not have doubts. If y'all have anything left to say, you can, but if not, you're free to go. Bye. All right, so we are going to move on and talk about the diesel technology program at Wallace State. First, we're going to show a short video about a woman in diesel. If Jesse could go ahead and play that video.
I am a diesel technician by title. I work for Herc Rentals as Mechanic Seed mentee and training. So my company offers me 3 years of all the training I could think of or want or need to bring my skill level up to expectation fresh out of school. So I'm 2 out of 3 years into the program. They provided me with mentors and tools and access to anything that I may ever dream of. So here's the funny thing. Throughout high school, I avoided anything mechanical. Dirt, oil, grease, had anything of that sort near it? No, that's a man's job. But however, my dad did teach me how to detail a car in the inside out and at least have something to fall back on if ever unemployed. And about 15 years later, that skill came into hand. We had a hurricane come and hit us about 4 years ago in Sanford, and it took out almost everybody's jobs. My ex-husband couldn't find routes or anything to do as he was a truck driver. We were pretty stuck. So I started doing detailing for the dump trucks, do the interior real good. I mean, name a trucker who doesn't like a nice truck. The detailing eventually went on to, can you do a lube job? Can you do an oil change? Can you do an inspection? Can you do this or that? And at some time, my business could keep up with it, but the demand kept getting higher and higher. So I decided to further my education and take my business seriously so I could focus on my education at Universal Technical Institute of Orlando. And I focused like heavy on my grades and what was being learned because I came into this industry. No, I couldn't tell you Lefty Loosey Righty Tighty meant much until after I started in the trade. So I graduated UTI with a 3.87 GPA, the only female in my graduating class. Shortly after that, I got hired with Herc Rentals for heavy equipment, which was a whole new set of boundaries because you just surpassed, because you don't hear of women working on heavy equipment. And from there, it's been a fun ride. I love it, like the best job in the world. If I had known it was this much fun, I would have did this a lot sooner. No 2 days are ever the same for me. I could be working on an excavator one day, I could be working on a loader another day, or a small light tower the next day. It's very unpredictable, and that's the fun thing about it. And it's also a puzzle when you get deep down into the diagnostics and not so much replace anything, but why and how to prevent replacing it again. It's amazing. Turns out wrenching has my heart.
Right. Thank you, Jesse, for playing that video. I would like to point out that Tech Forest is the one that put that video out, and they do offer scholarships to not just women, but anyone who is wanting to become a technician. So if you create an account with TechForce, you can apply for scholarships with them, and they award them all the time. But at this time, I want to introduce you to Mr. Wyatt Swan. He is the department chair of the diesel technology programs at Wallace State. So Wyatt, if you could unmute your microphone, I've got some questions for you.
I think I'm unmuted.
All right. Can you tell us about the diesel technology program at Wallace State and what students can expect while enrolled?
So what we do here at Wallace is we are a training facility to kind of get you ready to go to work. So our program is based mostly on Class 8 truck. We do dabble a little bit into the equipment, light and heavy duty equipment side. We do some Kubota certifications and things of that nature. But mainly we just get you ready to go to work. That's what we're here for.
Okay. Do you think this is a good field for women?
I do. I mean, I think this is a good field for everybody. I'm not just going to limit it just to women. I think this is a great field for everyone. Like some of the others said in this meeting, I too thought I was going to go into the medical field for a little bit, got into some of the classes, and the more I sat in the classroom, uh, the more I couldn't do it and left there, came to here. I actually went through the Wallace State diesel program, and so far I made a good living out of it. I can't complain of anything that was taught to me here or anything we're teaching now. So
That's interesting. I did not know that. Okay,
little
so
tidbit of information for you.
yeah. Okay, so what kinds of jobs are students hired for when they graduate, and who are some of the employers who hire them?
So a lot of our people that leave the program here, they're hired as entry level technicians. They do have kind of a step up from someone who's coming in just off the street from one of these jobs. They have like the base knowledge of everything they're going to be doing when they get to work. So we kind of give you a foundation to build off of when you get to industry. So once you're there, you're going to start most of the time. 90% of people start in like a lube bay. So where you change oil, change brakes, change tires, stuff of that nature. And then once they see you're willing to work and see the effort you put in, there's opportunities for advancement. So in my actual perspective, I left here and went to a local truck dealership in Birmingham. I worked for Truck Works Kenworth for a while. Started out working in their medium duty department. Ended up going to some schooling, got some classes done. When I left there, I was a master technician in the Isuzu brand and was like 2 classes away from being there on the Hino brand as well. Uh, so the opportunities for advancements there, left there, went in the service truck for a little while for Thompson Cat. Uh, and then ended up going back to Kenworth as a manager. So there's all kind of opportunities out there. It's just according to how you apply yourself.
Okay, great. How much can they expect to make in a career like this?
So the range is kind of vast. That's one of the things I do love about this industry is it's kind of the money's really based on how much and how hard you want to work. So a lot of the employers we speak to now, their starting pays are anywhere from generally we say 16 on the lower end all the way up to 24 on the start out pay. And then they have opportunities to work up. A couple of the guys that I talk to that are in upper level positions at a couple of the local dealerships are in the $40, $45 an hour range now for master technicians. So, I mean, the money is it's super good. I mean, me and Mr. Swindle were talking about this the other day when we came to this program 5 or 6 years ago. The start out was $10 lower than it is now. I mean,
Oh.
they were, I mean, 15, if you got $15 an hour leaving this program, you were doing like, everybody was so excited. And now they're coming in here and they're offering $24, $25 an hour to some of these guys, and gals just starting out right out of school. So, I mean, the money's there and the money's growing. So,
Thank you. Are there options to earn and learn in this program?
yes, there actually is. So, we do have an apprenticeship program. We just launched our latest one with Fitzgerald Peterbilt, where you would take advantage of our program here and learn through some of their programs as well. I think they said they're going to start those guys and gals out around, what was it, $18 an hour. And then depending on as you go through and you check off their competencies at their place, you go up to $22 an hour, and then you will eventually roll into an employment with them if they like what they see through the apprenticeship. We also do the Diesel by Distance program, which we kind of touched on a little bit earlier. And we kind of offer a flexible schedule for you. And a lot of people that work in the actual industry are taking advantage of that. So they'll come to school 2 days a week and work 3 to 4 days a week, depending on what they want, what their needs are. So they're able to sustain a family life and be able to come back to school. So,
Mhm. Okay, so what are the different lab options for those students, like lab times?
so we run kind of a odd schedule here. Our traditional students come Monday through Thursday from 8 to 2. Then our Diesel by Distance is where your options kind of broaden. So we go from there. We have an option for a Tuesday and Thursday class from 8 to 2. We also have a Tuesday and Thursday class that runs from 4 to 8 at night, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We also have a weekend lab that goes Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 3.
Okay, awesome. So thank you for that information on Diesel by Distance. Is there any other information you want to tell them about Diesel by Distance at this time?
I think I'm frozen. Did I unfreeze?
You're unfrozen.
Okay, I was frozen there for a second. I felt like I was talking and you didn't. So our Diesel by Distance program, we utilize the VR headset as some supplemental data for that as well. I've actually started going through some of the sims because this was not a program when I came through. So some of the simulations are really cool that are offered on the headsets. Uh, Other than that, that's about all I've got on the Diesel by Distance program, unless you think of something you'd like me to talk about.
Nope. With that, I would like for Jesse to show a simulation video of how the simulations work in the VR headset. These headsets students are given to take home and practice different tasks prior to coming into the shop, since they do have a reduced lab schedule. So you're able to practice at home. That way, it kind of mends that learning curve. So you're able to identify different parts and pieces when you're in the lab more quickly. So with that, Jesse, if you could show that simulation video, that would be great.
To the Diesel Tech Shop. This truck was brought in with a leaking left rear shock absorber that needs to be replaced. Shock absorbers, also just known as shocks, are hydraulic devices that dampen spring oscillations and reduce tire bounce. Today, we're going to replace the two rear shocks. Touch the lever to identify it. Use the grip button on your controller to pick up the safety glasses. Let's replace this worn-out left shock absorber. You're going to need both hands for this task. Use your left hand to grab the combination wrench from the cart. Impact wrench on the cart with an impact socket and set it to reverse for you. Good. Start loosening the fastener. Use both hands to grab the shock absorber in the areas that I'm highlighting. Grab the new shock absorber from the cart. Now, place the eye of the new shock absorber into the beam bracket. Use the mallet to tap the fastener head. And use your other hand shock absorber down to adjust the length. Nailed it! This is a ratcheting socket wrench. Use the grip controller to pick up the torque wrench and bring it to the fastener. Now, you need to twist clockwise to tighten. Excellent work. Let's use what you just learned about replacing shock absorbers. You'll be scored for this part, and I'm stuck, but you'll lose points if I have to help. Put on the PPE needed for this task, then press the submit.
The virtual coach has the trainee choose the proper PPE. The trainee then demonstrates mastery by correctly replacing the shock absorbers. After successfully accomplishing the hands-on section, the trainee completed the tutorial.
Congratulations! You just earned a gold medal. Grab it to unlock it.
Thank you, Jesse, for showing that video. So With that, there are currently 46 simulations in the headset that students can practice. 23 are with the preventative maintenance side and 23 with the engines, and there are more in development at this time. But you are able to practice those simulations as many times as you want prior to coming into the lab. So at this time, if you have any questions about either program or just for Wyatt in general, you can pop them into the chat. So I do have a question. Mr. Swan, what types of jobs are there in the diesel industry that the program can prepare you for? Like what types of technicians and other diesel related jobs are there?
So I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. When there's anything from like a standard, most of our entry level guys start out as lube technicians, is what they're referred to as. They will be oil changes, brakes. We have some suspension techs that work truly in truck alignments, tires, things of that nature. Then you're going to roll into there's engine technicians, transmission technicians. Some people do just nothing but electrical. And then other than the technical side, then you roll into service writers, service advisors, things of that nature, where you kind of talk to, you're kind of like the main entry point when customers come in. You're going to speak to them, kind of tell them what they're looking at. So a couple guys I went to school with went on that route. We actually had one guy that I went to school with left here, and he went to be a parts person at a truck dealership. And then there's management positions that are open. So I mean, coming to this program is not just going to limit you to being a mechanic for the rest of your life. You can kind of branch out and do different things as you feel like you're ready. So
And students get their CDLs in the program, so they could opt to drive as well.
that is correct. We had, I mean, it's crazy to me because I look back and see some of the people that were in my class, especially, and like just the vast differences of what all of us do now. Because you meet people here, and I mean, you end up being friends for life. And one of my one of the guys I ran around with when I was here, he's a parts man, like I said. Got a couple of them that went into service writing, a couple of them that are, one of them's a general manager at a Penske location now. I was in management over a medium duty department, something we don't really think about a lot here because we're, like I said, we're kind of based on Class 8 trucks. It was kind of new to me, but I mean, if you're willing to learn, people here are willing to teach you. That's the greatest thing about this industry to me is, in my experience, everybody's always been super willing to help. And I just tried to be a sponge the best I could, soak up the information I could from all the quote unquote older guys in the shop, older guys and gals in the shop, because I mean, they've done it for a long time. They know how this stuff works. So that was my thought leaving here. And so far, it's worked for me pretty good.
Okay. So I know there's a lot of different certifications students get in the program, including CDLs. Do you want to speak to if you like? I know some dealers will pay more if you have your CDLs or different certifications. Do you want to kind of speak to some of that?
Yes. So a lot of your dealerships, especially some of your equipment dealerships like Cat, there wasn't really a raise, but it got you the opportunities to be in different places, such as service trucks and stuff. That got you the opportunity to be there. Now, a lot of your truck dealerships, they're gonna pay extra for that. A couple places I know of, somewhere around the $1.50 an hour, just to have your CDLs because you have the ability to test drive the trucks you're working on. So 90% of the repairs you complete in a truck dealership, you have to perform just a quick test drive on it to make sure the repair took, make sure there's no other issues with the truck. So you being able to test drive that truck and them not have to pull another technician is valuable to them. So they do compensate for that.
Great. So last question, what tools are needed to start the program?
So to start the program, we actually don't, you're not required to have any tools. We have shop tools here. But our recommendation for someone in the program is as they go, kind of put you some money back, start purchasing tools, see what you use here, because a lot of the tools you're going to use here, you will use in the field. And this is what I'd done as well. So I didn't have a toolbox when I first started here, but throughout the program, I built me a toolbox based off of what I seen I used a lot of. That way, when you go to industry, when you go into the field, you have a toolbox, because a lot of employers, the first thing they ask, they want to know is, do you have tools? So we've seen that pretty regular. They need to know if you've got tools. So if you're just kind of build you a toolbox through the program, that way you have one for when you graduate.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of that information. At this point, I'm going to go over campus resources. So if you have any questions for me, you can throw them in the chat at this time, and I will answer them at the end of this. So Wallace State was designated as a caring campus in 2020. There were only 10 community colleges across the nation that were selected as a caring campus. This initiative is to create and cultivate supportive campus environments that lead to student persistence and success. With that, we offer many services to our students, such as we have a counselor on campus, we have a food pantry called Lion's Kitchen, a tutoring lab, we have technology loans so students can borrow laptops and things of that nature if they need it. We have a mother's lounge for nursing mothers, a veterans corner. We also have career services and success advising and student engagement events that help you build long-lasting friendships with other students on campus. Our student center is the House of Wally's Grill. It's one of the dining options on campus where you can play free pool, Xbox, air hockey, or borrow a bike to ride around campus. We also offer or have campus ministries who serve meals the first Monday of every month. Food trucks are on campus sporadically, and then the culinary arts program serves lunch on Wednesdays for $5 with a drink included. So I actually, as the Diesel by Distance project coordinator, work in the Center for Career and Workforce Development, and we assist students with resume building and mock interviews, finding work with internships or apprenticeships or other forms of work-based learning. With a registered apprenticeship, like I know he mentioned, we have one with Peterbilt. If you didn't qualify for a Pell Grant or other aid, then the apprenticeship employer is responsible for your tuition. So if you go through that option, then you can potentially graduate debt free, but there's also other ways to graduate debt free as well. And I'll go over that in a minute. But the employer would be responsible for your tuition, books and fees, and sometimes even tools. And like we're a Kubota tech school as well. And so if you choose to go to the farm equipment side and work at a Kubota dealer, they have a tool initiative where you get this awesome toolbox and lots of different tools. So there's a lot of different opportunities within this industry. The technicians are in very high demand. So we have basically a 100% job placement rate. If you're not working, that's because you don't want to, right? Anyway, so most of our partners are paying like 17 to 24 an hour. And you know, the growth, as Mr. Swan mentioned, that it's out there. We also host a variety of events called Dream Plan Do on campus, such as career fairs or the Industry Comes to Wallace State sessions that connect students with employers. So we are meeting with employers multiple times throughout the semester, and students are getting connected in internships and apprenticeships and you know, full-time employment. It really depends on what you're looking for. Most of them are willing to work with your schedule. So back to financial aid. Most students are eligible for Pell Grants, which is money from the federal government that you don't have to pay back. So you need to make sure you complete a FAFSA, which stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. But if you aren't eligible for a Pell Grant, then there are a multitude of scholarships available, such as Wallace State Career Tech, Future Foundation, Tech Force, Women in Auto Care, and there's many, many more. The Diesel Technology Program has partnerships with tool companies. I mentioned the one with Kubota, but we also have them with Snap-on and Matco Tools, where you can get 50% off if you're a student here. But also, if you do get financial aid, a Pell Grant and such, it's on your account and you can charge the tools at the bookstore to your account. So you're using that school money to pay for it and you're not having to pay out of pocket, right? Most employers, as he mentioned, require you to have your own tools prior to beginning work. And so, yeah, you can use the money that you receive to start purchasing those. So if you are interested in joining the program, we can help you navigate through that tonight. Summer classes begin May 24th and fall classes begin on August 18th. and registration is currently open for both. With that, I will now take questions. If you have any, you can put them in the chat. Okay, so question was, how much is the VR headset per semester? So right now, the VR headset is actually free. It is given to students as part of just the program. So you sign a technology loan form, you know, you're responsible for it, and you finish when you complete the program and you bring it back. So yeah, there's no cost for that at this time. Another question is, how do I apply for scholarships? So that's a good question. If you're in need of a scholarship, you can easily send me an email and let me know that. And I will compile a list of scholarships for you. And then you simply create accounts and apply for them. But if you need assistance with that, then just we can set up an appointment. You can come see me and I can help you apply for them if you are in need of a scholarship. So you don't have to do it alone, but I do give you the list and you can start on it. But if you need help, get an appointment with me and we'll get you covered. All right. Are there any other questions at this time? Okay. So, if you are interested in joining the program, we'll have 2 breakout rooms with Mr. Swan or I. If you're a current student, you can go join him in the breakout room. I think it's called current student. And if you are a new student, you can come over to, his would say change of major. Mine says new student. So you can link up with us in there and we can go over the registration process or the changing major process. But at this time, I would like to say to thank you all for joining us tonight and participating in the Women in Diesel meet and greet. And we are excited and hope that you join the program.